morning, everybody. So we are going to do 4 core exercises today because it's Wednesday. First one is pretty challenging. It's a plank variation. We're going to do feet elevated. You can absolutely do this one just on the floor too. Feet elevated definitely makes it a smidge more challenging. So you may not have quite the same amount of stability and rigidity as you would if you just did off the floor, but a way to start working a little bit more advanced on this variation. Okay, so you're gonna set up in that plank, right? Make sure everything's as tight as possible, right? You wanna breathe some air into that kind of low, which isn't really breathing air, right? It's just creating pressure down in this lower back as well as the front body. So all of that is as full and tight as possible. And then once you've got that brace, you're going to tap and then tap the feet. So eventually all 4 limbs will tap. Stay in control. Try and minimize the shift in the hips. So, I would maybe try and do 8 rounds of all 4 limbs, which leaves you up there for a while. So you're holding just even that plank position for a little while, right? And really making sure that you've got everything stable before you do the shoulder tap. The foot tap is not as challenging to maintain that rigidity, but the shoulder tap requires a lot more. Okay, second exercise. You guys all know my love for the extended crunch. I think it's just a really way to get connected to not only those deep muscles, the transverse abdominis, but also the ones a little bit more to the surface, those rectus abdominis. So we're going to do a banded extended crunch, which I don't really like the name crunch because you do get a little bit of that crunching mechanism, but we're really working on so much more. All right, so I like to start with the band overhead, and any band, right? You just want enough tension that when you squeeze in, you have to really think about pulling the band to create some work on the inside part of the motion. So we're going to start all in. We're going to extend and push out. Crunch all in. Extend and push out. But as I extend out, just like always, my lower back is staying really grounded. The lower I push my feet out, the more challenging it is. You can absolutely keep your head tucked if that feels okay on your neck. If you need to let your head rest back as you come overhead to take the tension off the neck. You guys all know that variation too. So I would say probably 12 to 15 of those. Depends on the tightness of the band, right? And kind of where you're at. All right, the next one is also a variation on a high plank. So we're going to go high plank, knee to wrist, slide up to elbow. So from that high plank, right, keeping the hips a little bit elevated, belly button scooped under that lower rib, feet maybe a smidge wider than hip distance apart, not much, right? Nice stable shoulders. You're going to take the left knee to the left wrist and then slide it up and step it back. Right knee to right wrist, slide it up and step it back. So the goal is to keep thinking about keeping that belly button scooped up and under that back rib cage and this lower back expanded with that intra-abdominal pressure, then you'll keep your lower back safe, right? There is a little bit of sort of crunch as you squeeze up, right? To get a little bit of oblique work. Right, so you should feel this kind of down, this kind of somewhere between your straight up obliques and the midline. right? And when you think about squeezing up, you're going to squeeze up and really find that connection. All right, last but not least. So we're going to do an overhead bend. We're going to stabilize with the band overhead, but we are going to work on trying to twist through the hips. So you need a fair amount of tension on your band. But what I do like about the band versus sometimes when we just use the bench at the gym is this is going to force you to keep your shoulders sort of locked back and down. We're going to start with our feet straight up in the air, shoulders engaged. We're going to do our leg lift. Once we get back to the top, we're going to try and lift our hips, pivot to the side, and come back down. Way harder with a band that moves than it is on the bench, where obviously the whole handle you're holding onto overhead. So it's leg lift up to the side, little mini shift, come back to the center, down. So alternate sides. I would shoot for maybe 10 to 12 total, right? Keep that tension on the band, keep the shoulders back and down. And on that leg lift, really try and ground the lower back. Keep this distance all connected on the leg lift, right? So that lower back doesn't arch and you don't put that back in jeopardy. All right. Have a great day, everybody.